Hey, hey, hey. I'm super. Thanks for asking. Daily puzzle's waiting for you. Go solve it. Today is the day. Today is the day where we all become one. Here we go. All right. Let's take a look. What do we have here? Okay, the king is on c6. It's a little weird, huh? Look at checks. The knight's on d2. Rook f to c1 check makes the most sense as far as a move you would consider first, given that it looks like the only move for black is to block the check with bishop c5. And that's a dog. Someone must have just brought a dog in. That's wonderful. Enjoy the real world, right? It's always nice to be like, oh, like there are real people and, real things do happen. He's not just editing out everything. Let's see here. So rook f-c1 check, bishop to c5 is the only legal move, but I don't have a follow-up. I look at rook f-c1 check, bishop c5, rook takes c5. If king takes c5, there's nothing good after that, and I don't even have an answer if pawn takes c5. This is strange and tricky, and it's only a Thursday puzzle. I don't see the answer to this one. The knights on f6 and g5 are kind of irritatingly impotent, not really able to check the king or to do anything. Am I just looking in the wrong area? What's the material count here? White is currently already down 2 pieces, and the 2 rooks are being forked. So there's not really an option to regain material here. All right. Let's take a fresh perspective. Rook b to c1 check, king moves to b6, the queen can't come to b3. There must be something outside the box. I need to go back to my own hierarchy of considering moves. Rook f c1 check should be the top check considered because it allows only one option, and that is bishop to c5. Oh, and there it is. See what happens when you follow your own advice? So rook f to c1 check, the bishop goes to c5, and again, this is kind of an easy... I'm realizing this is just an easy mate in 3 now. But I was not considering the follow-up after rook f-c1 check, bishop c5 because it was sort of an outside-the-box thinking move to consider. But following the hierarchy of how we should solve tactics and how we should look to take advantage of our opponent's weaknesses, the advice I've given you all, it shouldn't have been an outside-the-box thinking move. And that move is queen to d5 check. Because honestly, it's the most forcing check after the initial check. I was considering rook takes c5 and other moves with the knights, but it's the most forcing check after the initial check, and the fact that it can't be taken actually makes no difference. So if you struggled considering the queen sacrifice, again, you have to follow my advice that I just followed myself, which is the hierarchy of how you should consider things should not be based on like dogmatic preconceptions that you don't move your pieces to squares that are attacked. It should be like the most forcing moves you consider. When the king is weak and you're down 2 pieces, well, all bets are sort of off. And you have to consider the most forcing ways to approach it. That's why subtle positions, or not necessarily subtle positions, but tactics that involve a certain level of subtlety are always a little bit harder as far as that type of thinking goes. And ultimately, pattern recognition and your ability to consider more candidate moves is just as important as considering the forcing moves that we talk about. But this one's pretty easy there if you look at the fact that rook fc1, I'm sure some of you solved it faster than I did. I'm not surprised if you guys were like, I see it, and Danny doesn't see it. But I wasn't considering queen d5 check until I did. So thank you for watching. Thank you for playing the game that is life. You're playing the game that's life. Did you know that? And you're like, oh my god, he's right. I've been playing a game my entire life. And that game wasn't even chess. Like, what is wrong with me?